Hello, this is Justin Matthew. Welcome to Second Nature. Today, let's explore the link between politics of nature and politics of capitalism and how to provide a historical perspective to contemporary ecological crisis. So, to do this, let's try bring together two important fields of knowledge: political ecology and environmental history. So, I'm going to use two important work in this field interconnecting political ecology and environmental history. One is Paul Robinson and his Political Ecology, A Critical Introduction. And second important work is by Eric Singendorf and Maria Kaika, Urban Political Ecology. So this discussion on political ecology take us to a transdisciplinary field that include contributions from humanities and social science scholars. Political ecology is a field with deeper interventions made by historians, geographers, economists, and even anthropologists. So both these fields, political ecology and environmental history, have their beginning in the 1970s. I would like to mention three important major theoretical interventions that allowed the development of this field, political ecology. The first important work is by David Harvey and his 1973 published work, Social Justice and the City. And second is Neil Smith's 1984 published work, Uneven Development, and David Harvey's later work, 1996 published work, Justice, Nature, and the Geography of Difference. So these studies were instrumental in the development of political ecology as a radical perspective. Then what is political ecology? Political ecology examines how environmental changes is never simply a natural process, but one shaped by politics, power, and inequality. And Paul Robinson points out that there are political ecology and apolitical ecology. Apolitical ecology works from a common set of assumptions. So, apolitical ecology's conversations are surrounded by concepts or interventions by eco-scarcity perspective or modernization perspective or sustainable development theories. So these are the dominant ways to understand environmental issues. So let's take the example of Delhi, for instance, the city where I'm sitting now. So this is Delhi is once again getting the spotlight from its rising pollution, air pollution. So it is slowly suffocating under this thick blanket of smoke. If you live in the city, Delhi, you can see that the violent ecologies of inequality are visible everywhere in the city. If you go to industrial areas, you can see piles of electronic waste lie dumped. And if you travel around the city, air smells burning fossil fuel and plastic. The sky always stays cloudy, and sunlight has become a rare sight in the city. And around the city, mountains of waste rise every year. Plastic, discarded waste, biomedical waste, and containers, and all other materials are getting dumped as waste mountain. But at the same time, the city also has clean spaces, gated communities, supported by state system. And come back to that politics of waste disposal. Politics of waste disposal has grim effect on local environment and its residents. And if you go to Ghazipur, you can see that green spaces are covered in dust. Clean water is scarce all over the city, and people again, people cough and struggle to breathe. That is Delhi's experience. And to address this problem, there are ongoing efforts to address the issue of pollution. They are techno-managerial efforts that include, water spraying and anti-smog guns that have been erected across the city, and recently cloud seeding for artificial rain. It is widely believed that the city faces three interrelated problems that need to be addressed with the help of experts and with the help of urban planners. They are, number one, rapid population increase that leads to resource scarcity and space crunch. And second, infrastructural overload in terms of roads and all other forms of infrastructure that again lead to a problem of resource use for building material, energy, all these issues. And third is technological development that leads to vehicular emissions or kind of production of electronic waste. So these are three major problems. So these urban processes have far-reaching environmental impact in the context of Delhi. But we need to ask here, is it a collective human experience or urban experience? Or is this about ultimate scarcity of non-human nature that need to be addressed by producing more energy sources, more water, or more other resources, including food, labor, everything? So a political ecologist would challenge that apolitical ecology, that city, urban pollution is an issue that need to be handled, managed, addressed with the help of technology and managerial skill. Political ecology helps us to challenge the dominant views and offers a critical perspective. There are three major arguments or perspectives provided by critical political ecologists that help us to understand a problem like Delhi's urban pollution. They are, number one, political ecology challenges eco-scarcity perspective or apolitical ecology. Apolitical ecology refers to, if you go back to Thomas Malthus and Malthusian essays on the principles of population, and if we come to the 20th century, Paul Ehrlich's 1968 work on population bomb and the Club of Rome's limits to growth, such works re-emphasize the theory of ultimate scarcity of non-human nature and the problem of human population growth as the major problem to understand human nature interaction. So radical political ecology challenges this idea of eco-scarcity. They would argue that environmental crises are not simply caused by scarcity, but a product of political, economic, and social structures. That means to understand pollution, urban pollution, for instance, we need to understand capitalism, colonialism, and production of inequality. So therefore, instead of asking how many people the earth can support, that is the political ecologist's question. A political ecologist would ask, who controls resources? and who benefits from their use, and who bears the cost. Any form of landscape modification produces losers and winners. So it's about unequal ecological exchange. So therefore, we need to understand a degraded local environment is often driven by global forces. So therefore, we need to understand urban pollution, for instance, a case study within a kind of larger context of capitalism and unequal exchange. And second, political ecology, especially radical political ecology, produces perspective to understand environmental changes and ecological conditions as a product of political process. Take another example. Let's go to a South Indian city, Chennai. The year 2000, December 2015, Chennai experienced a worst flood in its urban history. And this flood was not merely a result of heavy rainfall. That's a mainstream media portrayal. But a flood happened mainly because of urban planning and decisions, urban planning decisions driven by political and commercial interest. Remember, Chennai had, the city of Chennai had several wetlands, marshes, and water bodies and tanks all over the city. So, and all these water bodies were absorbed, uh, um, um, that used to absorb monsoon water, had been encroached for real estate, for commercial and residential requirement. So that affected um, kind of not everyone in that city, but urban poor. Urban poor, experienced 2015 Chennai flood as a severe environmental disaster, natural disaster. So, here we need to understand political ecology provides us perspective to understand how differences in power shape the way people experience environmental disasters. And third, political ecology helps us to understand how power relations shape environmental knowledge. Take, for instance, colonialism in a context of India, late 19th century India or early 20th century India. Colonialism defined what counted as environmental knowledge. More specifically, scientific forestry defined what is nature, how to understand nature. So, and there was always a conflict between that scientific forestry and local ecological perspective. And colonial power considered local ecological knowledge as backward and unscientific. For instance, the 1878 Indian Forest Act criminalized traditional use of forest. So, political ecology provides perspectives to critically engage such developmental discourses and challenge the knowledge produced by powerful social actors, including state, bureaucracy, or science. Now, if you come to South Asia's context, South Asian environmental histories context, political ecology help us to understand issues like colonialism and land use pattern, issues related to what we call deforestation, biodiversity loss, famine, and epidemics, and all these issues that we experience now. And political ecology help us to understand, develop rather a historical perspective when it comes to these environmental problem. And second, When we come to industrialization and pollution, political ecological perspectives help us to understand how corporate interest, government policies, and regulatory frameworks produces uneven environmental experiences and unequal environmental relations. And third, uh, environmental justice movement is an important sphere where political ecologists examine how social inequalities, intersect with environmental issues. So that means that inform historians to interlink caste, community, gender, nation, ethnic differences, and what we call environmental justice issue together. So I'm providing you a set of readings to further understand political ecology in the context of South Asia and Africa. Thank you.